Buffalo Bills have made a plethora of moves in the past 72 hours, starting with Taylor Rapp. They re-signed him to a 3-year contract, originally from the LA Rams. Not the best with the Rams, but on the Bills, he's been pretty solid. Buffalo Bills have been used to good safety play over the year with Jordan Poyer and Mike. He's a huge piece on this defense that's pretty much average now. And with the recent cuts, which I'm about to get into, he's pretty much the only piece left on this depleted defense. So re-signing him is a good move. Speaking of depleted defensively, they cut Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and Mitch Morse. Tre'Davious White is a top 20 corner in the league, but unfortunately, he has an injury history and an injury problem. He is pretty brittle and very injury prone. Hasn't really played a lot in the past 2 years. The reason why they are making all these moves is because before they were $40 million over the cap, so kind of in a tricky situation, the Bills right now. And I've been saying this for quite a long time, but I really think the Super Bowl window for them is closed. Their team is going to be worse than what it was from a year ago, and I don't know how they're going to compete with the Chiefs in 2024, or better yet, the Bengals. I just think this team is kind of in a resetting stage, not a complete rebuild, but definitely a resetting stage. And when you're resetting things, when you're cutting guys, when you're essentially starting over, having a mini reboot, your team is going to have some holes, and that's what we're seeing right now. Poyer and Morris were captains on the Bills, so it's another hole to fill. Leadership, locker room, something to take note of. Now let's get back to White. I'm curious to see where he's going to go. I'd love to see him on like a championship team that's really close, like the Niners, maybe the Chargers. Tore his ACL on Thanksgiving in 2021. Returned for 6 regular season games and 2 playoff games in 2022. And then in 2023, he tore his Achilles. So I don't know how much tread he has left on his tires, but he still can play. I just don't know for how long and if he's still at that top 20 corner level. So I'm curious to see where he's going to end up. Jordan Poyer has been with the Bills for quite some time. I'm sure many Buffalo Bills fans are pretty upset to see him go. He's had a pretty solid career in Buffalo, but guess they just think it's time to part way. He's not really worth his contract. Fair play to Buffalo, fair play to Poyer. We'll see what happens. The only left safeties left under contract are Kendall Williamson and everyone's favorite Damar Hamlin. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Damar Hamlin will get a starting shot this year. It's possible. I'm sure everyone on Twitter and everyone that's a fan of Damar Hamlin will be curious to see that. I'm curious to see that. Like, I wonder what he's got. You know? Other Bills news is they renegotiated Von Miller's contract. The deal has a base value of $8.85 million with a chance of $20 million with incentives, which probably won't happen because Von Miller has literally done absolutely nothing since arriving in Buffalo. This move saves the Bills $8.64 in the cap, so useful. As of right now, Von Miller's contract with the Bills is definitely one of the worst. I remember when he got signed with them right after he won the Bowl with the Rams. He still looked good. Like, that playoff run, he was elite still. Like, he was a huge reason why the Rams beat the Bengals. Him and Aaron Donald were amazing. He got a sack in the Super Bowl. So And then once he arrived in Buffalo, completely nothing. It's like he just fell off really, really hard, and I don't know if he has anything left. So, really rough contract for Buffalo, but this will probably be his last year anyways with the Bills. Maybe they'll get something, maybe they won't. Time will tell. Last, but maybe least, the Buffalo Bills have signed Mitch Trubisky. He previously played for the Bills in 2021, so I feel like that's why they re-signed him. Quote, it was a no-brainer for the Bills from their GM, Brandon Beane. Say what you want about Trubisky, but obviously he made some friends in Buffalo. I think Trubisky is a decent quarterback. I think his years in Chicago were low-key underrated. Yes, he looked god-awful in Pittsburgh, but I don't know. I feel like if Josh Allen went down, I'd be curious to see how Trubisky would do. I feel like he would be serviceable. I'm not saying he would, sling it and go crazy, but fair play to Trubisky. Gets cut from the Steelers. Really ugly relationship that was, but back with the Bills, so good for him. So Bills fans, that's a lot of news. Lots of moves, lots of resetting, lots of retooling. Also, Gabe Davis is probably gone as well. Gabe Davis is kind of an interesting cat. Obviously, he went off in that one playoff game against the Chiefs a couple years back and put him on the map. And then he had a huge game against the Rams that opening night. And then ever since then, he's been like silent for like 4 weeks. Goes off for a game, silent for 4 weeks. He has potential, but I'm curious to see if he gets it done somewhere else. I feel like he could, but he's done with Buffalo. So Bills fans, what do you think about all the news? Do you think the Bills are going to be competitive this year? As I mentioned earlier, I doubt it. I think they're going to be a fringe playoff team or just missing the playoffs. It's definitely going to be a weaker team, so we'll see what happens. Let me know what y'all think about the Bills and their moves, and that's all I got for right now. Peace.
This is one of those guys, when you talk about receivers, no matter what, he is always open. If the coverage is tight, don't worry. Throw it out there. He'll make the play.
First down at the 17. As Chargers take it across. Touchdown. That gives him 15 touchdowns. The Chargers offense preparing to get this drive underway. Their last drive actually ended in a touchdown, Phil. We'll see if they still have it in them to issue a repeat performance.
Well, what you saw in that last drive was everything just came together perfectly for him. The experience of the football team, the talent of the players, and the coaches helped